I'm 85 years old, and the thing about being 85 is that you have an abundance of one thing and a scarcity of another. You have an abundance of time to think, and a scarcity of time to do anything about those thoughts. The world shrinks down to the size of your front window, to the feel of the sun on your armchair, to the quiet hum of the refrigerator. And in that quiet, you start to see the architecture of your life. Not the version you told yourself, not the one you presented to others, but the real one. The one built of choices, big and small, that you can't undo. There's a truth that sits with me in this chair every afternoon, and it's a heavy companion. It's the one thing I learned far, far too late. It's not about money, or career, or the things people chase. I had all of that. I built a respectable life. I did what a man was supposed to do. But I missed the entire point, and by the time I saw it, the people I needed to tell had already gone. So I'm telling you, not as a lecture, but as a final confession. A quiet warning from a man at the end of his road. When I was 25, I was a hurricane of ambition. My father had been a factory worker, a good, honest man who came home every day with grease under his fingernails and a weariness in his bones that never truly left him. He provided, he was steady, but he was also quiet, distant. He never seemed happy, just resigned. I swore my life would be different. I wasn't going to be resigned. I was going to be successful. I saw life as a ladder, and my only job was to climb it, rung by rung. Every decision was a calculation. Every hour was an investment. I met Eleanor when I was 27. She was life, pure, uncalculated life. She laughed with her whole body. She saw beauty in things I never even noticed, the way the light hit the dust motes in the air, the smell of rain on hot asphalt. She was the opposite of my ledger book view of the world, and I loved her for it. I thought her presence in my life was enough, that she would be the life department, and I would be the security department. We were a partnership. It made sense. We got married, we had a son, then a daughter. I worked hard. I took the extra projects. I stayed late. I traveled when they asked me to travel. I saw it as a noble sacrifice. I was building a future for them. A fortress of security my father could never provide. I was giving them the world, or so I told myself. What I was actually doing was trading moments for dollars, and I didn't realize that moments are a non-renewable resource. Eleanor would say to me, "Michael, the boy has a school play on Friday. He's a tree. He's so proud of being a tree." And I'd look at my calendar, at the thick ink of a deadline, and I'd say, "Ellie, I can't. This is the Henderson account. It's critical. Tell him I'm proud of him. I'll make the next one." There was always a next one, a next play, a next birthday, a next holiday. I remember my daughter. She must have been about 6. She had this little ritual. Every night when I came home, she would have drawn me a picture. She'd wait by the door, holding it in her small hands, this little offering, a crooked house, a lopsided sun, our family as stick figures. And I'd come in, my mind still buzzing with spreadsheets and client calls, and I'd take it from her. I'd say, "Oh, that's beautiful, sweetheart, thank you." And I'd put it on the counter. Then I'd turn my attention to the mail, to my briefcase, to the dinner Eleanor had kept warm for me. My body was home, but my mind was still at the office. I was a ghost at my own family's dinner table, present but not there, and after a while, my daughter stopped waiting for me at the door. It wasn't a dramatic event. There was no confrontation. She just stopped. She started leaving the drawings on the kitchen table instead. And then, after a few more years, the drawings stopped altogether. I barely noticed. I was busy. I was important. I was building. Eleanor tried. God, she tried. She would try to pull me into the present. "Michael, Listen to this funny thing Sarah said today. Michael, let's just take a walk after dinner, just down the block. And I would see her attempts as interruptions, as distractions from the very important work of securing our future, a future that, in my mind, was always somewhere down the road, a sunny, peaceful place where we would all finally relax and enjoy the fruits of my labor. I was living my whole life in the future tense. The years went by like that, in a blur of deadlines and promotions. The kids grew up, they became teenagers. They were strangers to me. They had inside jokes with their mother. They had lives and worries and triumphs that I only heard about second-hand, if at all. I was the financier of this family, but I was not a member of it. I thought, when I retire, I'll fix it. I'll have time then. I'll get to know my kids. I'll take Eleanor on that trip to Italy she's always dreamed of. I'll make up for it. Time. The ultimate currency I thought I could accumulate and spend whenever I wanted. The turning point wasn't a single, thunderous crash. It was a slow, quiet sinking. It was Eleanor, at 68 years old, sitting across from me in our pristine, silent living room, a room I had paid for but had never truly lived in. She had been forgetting things, little things, at first. A name, an appointment. I dismissed it as just getting older. But it got worse. One afternoon, I found her in the garden, just standing there, looking at her rose bushes, with a look of complete confusion. She didn't know where she was. The diagnosis was Alzheimer's. It's a cruel, insidious thief. It doesn't just take the person. It takes the memories you were counting on sharing. The past I had neglected, the past I was planning to revisit and repair with her, was being erased from her mind, page by page. I retired immediately. I was finally home, all the time in the world. But the person I wanted to spend it with was disappearing. I spent the next 10 years as her caregiver, and in those 10 years, I learned the truth. I would sit with her for hours, holding her hand, and I would tell her stories. Our stories. The story of how we met. The story of our first apartment, with the leaky faucet and the mismatched furniture. The story of our son's first steps. And sometimes, for a fleeting moment, a flicker of recognition would cross her face, a ghost of a smile. But mostly, she would just look at me with a gentle, placid emptiness. The love was there, somewhere deep inside, but the connection was severed. I was finally present, I was finally there, but I was 40 years too late. I was telling stories to a stranger who wore my wife's face. I would say, "Remember that time we drove to the coast and the car broke down?" And I would realize, with a cold, hollow ache, that I was the only one who remembered. I was holding our entire shared history by myself. She's been gone for 7 years now. The house is quieter than ever. My children are good to me. They call, they visit. They have their own families now, their own busy lives. They love me, I know they do. But there's a distance, a polite, respectful distance. We don't have the easy intimacy that they had with their mother. I never built that foundation. I was too busy laying bricks for a house they never really lived in. They remember their childhoods. They remember a father who was always working, who was always tired, who was always distracted. They don't resent me. That's almost the worst part. They just accepted it. I was the provider, the reliable, distant son they all revolved around but could never get too close to. And that is the truth. I learned too late. The future is a fiction. It's a ghost. It's a convenient place to store your hopes and your promises and your best intentions. But it doesn't exist. The only thing that is real is right now. This moment, the currency of life, isn't money. It's not success. It's not status. It's moments. It's the small, unglamorous, easily missed moments. It's the 5 minutes you spend listening to your child talk about being a tree in a school play. It's the walk around the block after dinner, holding your wife's hand. It's the act of putting down your briefcase, turning off the noise in your head, and looking at the drawing your is holding out to you. It's being present. I built an empire of security for a family who would have traded it all for a few more evenings with a husband and a father who was truly there. I sacrificed my family's present for their future, and in the end, I lost both. All that time I spent worrying about the future, planning for it, sacrificing for it, I missed the life that was happening right in front of me. And you can't get it back. There's no overtime. There's no second chance. You can't go back and unmiss those moments. So please, listen to an old man who is living in the quiet aftermath of a busy life. Don't live in the future. It's a trap. The promotion you're chasing, the money you're earning, the success you're building, it will not comfort you in the end. It will not hold your hand in the quiet of the night. The foundation of a life isn't built on a resume. It's built on 1,000 tiny, unrecorded moments of connection, of presence. Don't make my mistake. Don't trade the warmth of now for the promise of a distant, comfortable tomorrow. That tomorrow may never come, or it may come when the people you built it for are no longer there to share it with you. My life is a monument to a lesson learned too late. It's a big, beautiful, empty house, and all I have left is time to think about it.